Alright guys, let's get started. So right now I just finished washing my client's hair. I know, don't be fooled by her shrinkage. Once I blow it out, she does have a good bit of length for me to work with. But right now I'm just putting some oil and water on her hair so that I can detangle it before I go ahead and blow dry it. And this step right here is actually very vital to the overall finished look of the locks, or really any protective style that you do. You always want to make sure that you thoroughly detangle your hair and properly blow dry it. And in my opinion, yes, that includes putting it in 4 sections, or really however many sections you need to, and then go ahead and blow drying it. Kinkier hair really requires like smaller sections so you can get like a smooth finish and you won't have any kinks as you are trying to section the hair out. Don't skip over this part. It's very vital. Everything that I'm going to be doing in this video is very intentional for the overall look. As you can see, as I stretch her hair out, she does have quite a bit of length for me to work with. So if you have clients with shorter hair coming to you, it is possible. And just keep in mind, the more hair you add before wrapping, the heavier the style will be. So I'm just gonna finish blow drying her out. Making sure it's dry. See, don't be fooled by her shrinkage. Okay, enough kidding around. Let's hop right into the sectioning part. So right now I'm just starting off in the middle of her nape. And for this style, I'm going to be doing the free parts, or what people like to call the free parts, because free parts come in many different shapes. But this is how I do mine. I guess you can call it the seashell shape, the semicircle shape, whatever you want to call it. But this is really like my go-to for my large butterfly locks. But I always like to make the first section in the middle, and that's going to create like the guideline of how I do the other sections. And I always make sure to put 3 in the nape area on the first row. And you want to make sure your sections are as neat as possible. Yes, they are free parts, but they should still be nice and neat, because it's really going to pop when you're done with the locks. So you want to make sure the parts are actually straight and neat. Excuse my shoulder, y'all. I'm going to get my angles right. It's my first video. Don't judge me. So that's the first row is 3. And now we're going to start with the second row. And on the second row for the sectionings, I like to do about 4 when I'm doing my large locks. I do about 3 on the first row, 4 on the second row. And honestly, it could really vary based off your client's head size. But make sure you keep the parts neat. That's what's really going to make the style pop. And braiding as tight as you can, but you know, without making it uncomfortable for your clients. No style should be painful. You really just have to gauge to make sure you keep the sections all the same size. Because again, yes, they're free parts, but they should still look somewhat uniform. Okay, so this is a better view for you guys on how I do my free parts. So I always like to touch the base with a little bit of the Shine Jam at the root to keep it sleek so I can really see what the part looks like. And then I just plait it. If you guys want like a more in-depth tutorial or video on how I actually do these, just let me know in the comments. But yeah, I literally just keep the end of the comb, the tip of the comb, flush to the scalp, and that's really going to help keep your parts clean. And you may have to go over it a few times just to make sure the part pops. But I recommend like really taking your time with the sections, because the lock portion is really not that time consuming. It's really this part that's time consuming, because you got to make sure they're even and you got to make sure they're neat. Yeah, I'm just repeating the same steps, keeping the sections as neat as possible, keeping the braids tight. And that's the sections. So I pretty much I went ahead and finished sectioning her entire head. And now we're gonna hop right into the fun part, the locks. So for this part, you're gonna take a section of your hair, and I recommend, well, for me, I like to use excuse me, oh my god, 3 to 4 pieces of hair per lock. But you know, like the more hair you use, the chunkier the lock will be. But start off with 3 pieces of hair and crochet it through. And then we're gonna start to twist the lock or wrap the lock. And don't worry guys, I am gonna get a little bit closer so you guys can see. This is just the first row. And this is why I recommend having longer hair when you're doing like shoulder length locks, so you won't have to keep adding hair. You can just use the hair as you go based off the length. And right now I'm just doing the technique to make the locks look more natural with the buds. Okay, so cool. Here's a better view. So you're gonna take a section of hair that you already prepped. Remember, 3 to 4 pieces, and you're gonna pull it through. And me personally, I like to start my butterfly locks off with like a smooth root or smooth base to give like a overall sleeker look when the locks are all done. And I wrap about 4 to 5 times at the root before I start the wrap over thumb method to create the butterfly. So I just place my thumb right there and I wrap over it, moving my thumb down as I'm wrapping, as well as pushing up to secure the butterflies in place. So what I've learned is that you have to push as you go. Like as you're wrapping with the butterfly locks, you have to push. Yes, it's messy, and yes, you wrap loosely, but you still want to make sure that the quote-unquote butterflies that you create are actually secure. Because if you don't push it up, what's going to happen is that as the locks are getting older, it's just going to start unraveling and sliding down on your client, and they're going to feel like their locks aren't lasting. So you have to make sure you pull it up. And again, this is how I create that natural lock bud look. And I seal my locks with glue, either nail glue or super glue. Of course, avoiding the natural hair. You should never put any type of industrial adhesive on your natural hair, your client's natural hair. So here's another look. This is another lock we're gonna do. Again, you're crocheting the hair through the braid. Wrapping with tension, not uncomfortable tension, but the right amount of tension. If you don't wrap with tension, the butterfly locks, they're not going to last. And all the technique that I'm doing is the wrap over thumb method. I'm not really pulling the hair with my thumb. I know I see a lot of videos of people doing that, and yeah, those are cute too, but I don't really put too much effort in like pulling the hair out with my thumb. I just really let the curly hair create the butterfly look for me. And remember, the curlier the hair, the more messier and like textured your butterfly locks are going to look. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are securing the locks. Boom, y'all see my thumb? Wrap around your thumb, then take the excess hair and wrap up to secure it in place. And then of course finish off with some glue. And you really don't need a whole lot of glue, just 1 or 2 dots. So these are looking good so far to me. So we're gonna go on to the next lock. And stay tuned, and I'll show you guys exactly how I make sure my butterfly locks don't unravel, don't slide down on my clients. Again, excuse my shoulder. Wrapping with tension when you first start. That's really key to the butterfly locks. And you wrap down, covering your thumb. And this is how you add more hair. You just take hair from the hair that you was already wrapping around, if that makes sense. Like, honestly, I recommend watching this a few times, but it's really, really like simple. Taking hair from the hair you already wrapped to continue wrapping down. And remember to push up to secure. Securing the bottom with glue. This texture is coming on really nicely. Butterfly locks is really one of my favorite styles to do, because it's so, like, once you get the hang of it, it's really so effortless. Like, I don't put too much thought into my butterfly locks. I really, really don't. Like, and for me, for like time purposes, I like to go ahead and just put all the hair on the sections so I don't have to keep stopping. Okay, boom. So I'm gonna just move the camera a little bit closer so you guys can have another better look. So again, at the base, wrapping with tension. And now you're gonna do the wrap over thumb method. It's really just a good balance of loose wrapping and secure wrapping, if that makes sense. Like, you have to secure the lock at some point. You can't just loosely wrap the whole way down, or the lock is gonna unravel. So as long as y'all keep that good balance of loose wrapping when you're wrapping over your thumb, and then securing it, and then loose wrapping again, you'll create the perfect butterfly lock. And you can create many different looks for butterfly locks with different textures of curly hair. Me personally, I like using the water wave because it gives like the cutest, softest curls. And I'm really realizing that I talk with my hands a lot. Like, don't mind me, y'all. But again, I'm literally just repeating the same thing over and over. Pushing the lock up to secure that butterfly. Then I'm going to grab another piece of hair to continue wrapping. And doing the same thing over and over until I get to the bottom. Pushing it up. Sometimes I grab another piece to add it to that. And how I do that, I just cut it in half. And I place it in the middle and keep wrapping. Boom, add more hair. Keep wrapping. wrapping over my thumb to create the butterfly look. Then I push up. Then I'm going to add a little bit more hair, because as you get to the top, the hair starts to get shorter as you wrap it, if that makes sense. So yeah, we start off with a long length, but as you move up to the head, the hair is going to be longer based off the position of the lock. I hope that makes sense to y'all. Again, how I create that natural lock bud look is I wrap the hair over my thumb at the bottom and then secure it with glue. And that's how you create the quote-unquote bud. Because I don't like burning the ends of my locks. That doesn't really look natural. Oh my God, I'm really just running my mouth. I'm sorry, y'all. Me and my client was really having like a good conversation. Again, y'all seeing what I'm doing? I'm starting off sleek, and then I start with the wrap over thumb method. If I run out of hair, I just grab hair from the bottom. Grab another piece if the hair gets too short, and continue wrapping. Let me move it back so you guys can have a better view. And I really tried my best to like make this tutorial detailed, but that was gonna turn into like an hour video, and this is my first video. Ain't nobody about to watch an hour video. So again, like I said, if I'm moving kind of fast for y'all, just watch the video again. Like, I'm literally repeating the same thing over and over. And it's really all about practice. But literally, I've done like my best set of locks when I don't put too much thought into trying to create the butterfly look. Like, I just literally let the hair do what it do. Okay, so this is how I make sure the hair doesn't unravel. I basically go through with a crochet needle. This needle has like 3 needle heads on it, and I just go through and kind of interlock the hair. Of course, remember to be careful because your client's hair, natural hair, is within the lock. So don't do it close to their natural hair, because you don't want their hair to start matting with the weave. So you just do this in like 2 to 3 places of the lock. And I've noticed that it really does help the locks last longer. Okay, so now we're on the last section in the front. And I'm still just doing the same thing. Right then, I just added in some hair because the hair got too short. But again, adding that piece, continue wrapping to create that length that I need. And then I'm gonna go ahead and seal the lock right after I wrap it around my thumb to create the bud at the bottom. Okay, so I went ahead and did my client's edges off camera. And now I'm just wrapping her hair with a wrap strip to set her edges in place. And I'm putting on some Creme of Nature Mousse. I love this mousse. It gives a nice finish to my client's roots as well as the hair. A nice little sheen. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my blow dryer and I'm going to set the mousse. This texture is looking so beautiful. Like, it just looks so natural. And you guys all, you have the option of setting your clients under the dryer during this part, but I just used the blow dryer real quick. Yes, these locks are gonna age so freaking cute. So now that it's all dry, I just look at the locks, feel the locks, see if there's any finishing touches I need to do. I'm gonna add some oil sheen just to make sure my client's scalp is nice and oiled down, not dry. Okay, so now we're in the front. Yes, these are perfect. They look so cute on her. It's the perfect shoulder length. Really, I'm just flipping it back and forth, showing you the different variations of the style, and these just came out so cute. She loves them, and this is how we ended up styling them. All right, guys, that's the end of this tutorial. I hope you guys were able to gain something from it. I hope you learned something new. Let me know in the comments if you did, and be on the lookout for my next tutorial. I want to try to make sure I start posting on here consistently. If you don't follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is at ASTRAHAIRSTUDIOS. I'll put it in the screen somewhere. But you can keep up with me on a daily basis. I post pretty much daily on there, especially on my story. And you can also find me on Facebook, facebook.com/ASTRAHAIRSTUDIOS. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Bye.